Well, I am really excited to be having this conversation today with the beautiful Linda Sterling. In
Oh,
case you don't know, she's going to introduce herself in a minute, but she is a phenomenal publisher. So you want to hook up with her if you're thinking about writing a book, if you've written a book, if you've got publication questions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you want to hook up with her. But before I turn it over to her, I want to share with you why I'm so excited about this conversation. Linda, being a publisher, she had a vision for something that she really wanted to accomplish, and she approached several authors. I am one of them, and asked us to write a chapter in her book. Now, this is a little different than those books that you hear about, like, oh, there's this many authors in the book, and we're all writing a chapter, and we're going to do X, Y, and Z. Because, in my opinion, one of the reasons that this is a little bit different is her why she was doing this. And I'm going to let her share it in her words rather than paraphrase, because I do have her right here. But Linda, thank you so much for doing this with me today, because I'm so honored, that you asked me to be a part of this. I'm honored for being part of your why. And I'm honored to be able to have another chance to get my message out there. So before we go any farther, tell everybody who you are, what you do, and why you're so fabulous.
well, that's quite the introduction there, Nancy. So as you have said, I'm a publisher. So my publishing company is called the Publishing Circle. And I also have a membership where I coach people who maybe don't want to go the publishing route. They want to self-publish instead. But my primary focus is my book publishing company. So I've been in publishing for many years and have now 57 books out of my own. So I know publishing kind of all the different ways that it can be done, and just trying to stay really current on everything in the publishing world so I can bring that to my authors.
You are amazing, truly, and it's been a joy working with you.
Thank you.
Your professionalism, your attention to detail, as well as, like when I had questions, you were right there to answer them. And so I really appreciate, how you work and working with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm.
Well, this book has been a joy to put together. The people involved, it's just phenomenal how so many people said yes. And they said yes because of the reason behind the book.
So, drum roll, we're going to talk about business with a woman's touch. Now available on Amazon in the Kindle edition, and perhaps as of this airing, the hard copy will be available, but
It's
you can at
available
least,
now. It's available now.
it's
Yeah.
available now. Yay! That's
And,
awesome. That's
and the
awesome.
paperback soon.
Fantastic. So, okay, business with a woman's touch. What, you know, I'm just, why did you choose that title? I mean, I've read all of the chapters in there by all of the entrepreneurs, and I think I know the reason why, but I'd like to know your reason.
Well, let me start with how I came up with the idea. So I, like a lot of people, will watch the news and try not to watch too much because it can be really depressing.
Right.
And when I look at some of the things going on in the world, my first question is always, how can I help? And sometimes there's a feeling of despair that goes with that. Like, well, what I could do wouldn't really make that much difference. So I thought about that. And then I thought, that doesn't have to be the case. I believe that with the talents that I have, that I can figure out a way to make a bigger difference. So my talent, one of them is as a publisher. And I thought if I want to make a bigger difference, I need to get other people involved. So I thought about what would that look like? Well, first of all, it needed to be a nonfiction book to get a number of other people involved. And then I thought, what's not really out there on the market? What could I reach out to people about that would bring something really unique to a book that would, and I had the criterias that would help the charity, which the charity for the book is the World Food Program, that would help the people who bought the book and would help the authors so that they also wanted to be part of this and have a presence there. And just I just wanted it to be a win-win-win all the way around. So I came up with the idea of business with a woman's touch because I do believe that we as women, we're uncomfortable, most of us, doing business quite like men do business. Some men do business. I've got a couple of men in the book who are phenomenal that I just couldn't resist adding. But we just don't have that really super salesy push approach that a lot of people do. And so I thought, that's the idea. And I'm going to start with reaching out to phenomenal women that I know. And then I'm going to let some of them guide me if they know other people that might be a good fit for the way that I want to put the book together. So I started the process. There's a lot that goes into it, as you know, Nancy, of reaching out and getting commitments, defining what I saw as the organization of the book. So then that dictated what the chapters would be for it to be a cohesive whole that would help women who are starting their business or who have a business that's not flourishing as much as they want it to. And I just tried to really oversee so that there would be stellar content for the reader so that we'd have one of those first wins.
Fantastic. Well, I can tell you that when you reached out to me and you asked me, and I, looked at what you were doing and what your vision was, feeding the hungry for me is a no-brainer. I mean, a lot of people don't know this about me, but when I was growing up, there was always very little food in our house, very little food. Our family was always usually fed by the church or neighbors, and I can remember going to school and being so hungry, and just wishing like, oh man. And then you look around and it's very difficult to be in a situation where you see plenty, but that plenty is not available to you. So it was a no-brainer for me when you said, we're going to feed the hungry. And I'm like, yes, this is amazing, because I know what it's like to go without. I know what it's like to be so hungry that you just can't see straight. And, we talk about nutrition and we talk about self-care and we talk about, oh, how can I contribute? And the thing is oftentimes we don't even recognize how the person right beside us is going without. And it was interesting because when my 25-year class reunion came around, my aunt said to me, oh, Nancy, it's your 25-year class reunion. Are you going to go? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. And she's like, why not? Why would you not go? And I said, you have no idea how hard it was for me in school. I said, half the time I went to school and I was so hungry. And I would always go around and, bum dimes off of people. Could I have a dime? Could I have a dime? And in the 70s, for $1, you could eat pretty well at lunch. And I would think, yay, and I would get like $1, and then I would have lunch, and I would just feel so on top of the world. But there's shame involved in that. For me, there was. And so, it's like, I told my aunt, I said, there's no way I'm going to go to that reunion, because I just know everyone's going to look at me and go, hey, don't you owe me dimes? And my aunt said to me, oh, for cripe's sakes, take a bag of dimes and go. And I was like, yeah, because I am not that person anymore. And, this is even, I shared this story in one of my books. It's about, we often grow up thinking that we are something or a certain way, or people perceive us a certain way based on how we perceived ourselves, in the past. And the thing is that that's not what happens. I was amazed. I did go to the reunion, and I had people coming up to me and saying, "Oh, you were always so nice to me," or "You were the only one who talked to me on the bus," or "You would always save me a seat in study hall." And I was thinking, "Really?" Because I only remember really crappy stuff. So the thing is that your vision really touched me. Your purpose for writing this book really touched me deeply, because I know that it's not just about, okay, we're adults now and we're entrepreneurs and we're rocking our business and it's also about feeding that inner child, you know, and we all have that little girl inside of us who's thinking, oh my gosh, have I learned enough? Am I good enough? Or do people really want to hear what I have to share? And your vision about this was not only to support entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, but it was also a way to keep this going, to keep it going forward, to keep paying it forward. And I feel like as long as this book continues to enrich the lives of women entrepreneurs, it's also going to enrich the lives of people who maybe can't feed themselves. And I'm very, very honored to be a part of this.
Well, I was thrilled when you accepted because it's an honor to have you in the book. But yeah, I think that, your story of going to school and all you could think about was being hungry.
Mhm.
When you've got that burden on you, you can't flourish in all the ways that other people do. And
Right.
so that's why the core issue of, do people have enough to eat, was so important to me. Another
Mhm.
thing is, I'm really particular about charities that I give to personally, and certainly was with this book. I want them to have a stellar reputation, and the World Food Program has that. They rank, I think it's 96 maybe, among organizations, and nobody gets 100, so 96 is really good. And so I know that what what the book brings in, and I'm donating 100%. So nobody is being paid to contribute or paying in order to be a contributor, nor am I taking anything out of that as a publisher. Everything is going to the World Food Program. So I knew, circling back, that if I was going to give 100%, I wanted that to go to the people who are in the greatest need. And food, shelter, water, that's where it matters.
Absolutely. And, when one woman rises and we work together and we co-create, we bring everyone with us, right? We're all like rising to the surface. And it's so fabulous to know that there are 34, correct? There are 35 authors in the book. Um, we are rising together. And what's interesting is, like, what was that commercial years and years ago? It was Kelly LeBrock, "Don't hate me because I'm beautiful," and something about shampoo. And she's like, I told one person, and then I told another person, and they told two people. And I think, it's like that's one person telling one person, but when you have 35 people sharing it with their 30, their people, I mean, I just see this as something that we can continue to pay forward and grow and expand and just, put that thought out there for others who maybe hadn't thought about doing some kind of a project where they can pay it forward as well.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I also think that as women, and probably some men too, read the book and make their businesses stronger, get that kind of inspiration and affirmation of who they are, that they'll recommend the book. And so by them recommending the book, that again raises funds to go to the World Food Program. So there's just, when I came up with the whole concept, there was just every single touch point where this could do good was hit. So
So let
anyway,
me ask you
I won't
something.
belabor that. I just think it's a great book with great contributors for a great cause.
Yeah, so let me ask you something. So I know, having published my own books, that there's always a hurdle, one or two, maybe more, just depends. And in doing something like this, you were bound to jump some hurdles, maybe some things that hadn't happened before or whatever. Was there ever a point where you thought, "Ah, I'm just going to give up. I'm just not going to do this." Did you ever get to that point?
No, there were some frustrating times, but that was with distributors, not with the project. Um, because it is a lot of work, far more work than people realize, especially when you're bringing together that many authors.
Mhm.
Um, there were times when it was like, oh, I've got to get this done. I've got to get that done. But I always held in my mind's eye this little child that was hungry, and I could put in the extra hours, and there were a lot of extra hours.
Yeah.
So that's what really sustained me. And I think that idea, when it was first presented to you and the other authors, that's what they had their hearts touched by as well. They could see that same vision in some way.
Yeah, absolutely. And at first, I don't know, I guess I don't know if I've said this yet, but thank you. Thank you for your vision. Thank you for asking me to be a part of it. Thank you for thinking of people outside of yourself, outside of your industry. Um, Thank you on behalf of my younger self. That I don't know that there were places like this when I was younger. And I feel that, we are all so fortunate to be a part of this project. And I also believe with all my heart, I mean, I feel it just resonating within me, that this is going to go farther than any of us realize. And it's because it's not just one person putting their thoughts, feelings, emotions, focus, and attention into the book, but it's 35 women plus whoever else you needed to, bring this together for you. We all have this inspiration inside of us, and it can't help but be like a tremendous, tremendous success.
Well, I'm already seeing the book doing really well on Amazon. It's going to be available in a lot of other places as well, but I do have a full-time job as a publisher, so I'm getting those other places as I can. But just yes, having that distribution is worldwide, and Amazon, a lot of people don't know, isn't necessarily worldwide. It's in a lot of countries, but the book will have distribution all around the world, and the ebook especially, distribution in over 190 countries. So there really isn't any place that it won't touch. And my hope is that it's just, touching hearts and making a difference too.
Fabulous. Linda, thank you so much for sharing your time. I know you are really busy and you've got a lot going on, and there are a lot of other authors counting on you for their books, but I just wanted to bring you on for a minute and have this conversation, and again say thank you so much for making me a part of this. And I just know that we are going to continue to pay it forward and build this and expand, and everyone will be blessed because of it.
Thank you. And it's truly my pleasure, Nancy. I appreciate all that you do in both in your sharing in your chapter and all that you're doing in the world.
Thank you. Okay, you heard it. You go on Amazon and get Business with a Woman's Touch. Get the book and support the authors, entrepreneurs, and feed the hungry. In the meantime, this is Nancy Muller, the one and only Life Sensei, saying ciao for now.